This is Ancestralism versus Racialism, Part 3. And in this segment I want to talk about traditionally among the Indo-European peoples, what was necessary for somebody to be considered a descendant of somebody else? What was necessary for somebody to have the right to be able to shamanically and energetically connect to the ancestors? Okay. In order to understand this, we have to understand where the Indo-European people came from and what their traditional values and their traditional way of life was. I'm not sure completely, but from what I have looked into, the majority opinion now is that the Indo-European mother culture, or the Proto-Indo-European people, which initiated the languages of all Indo-Europeans, their culture, their religion. These people, from what I understand, came either from Central Asia or even possibly from Anatolia. I toy around with the idea that possibly they came from Scandinavia and went all the way down, but that's because that's my bias. But I can't prove that, I don't know that. But the majority opinion is that they came from Central Asia or Anatolia and then migrated into different parts of the world at different times. Northern Europeans would have come from these very early Proto-Indo-European hunters. These were migratory hunters that would migrate following the herds of deer and elk and these kinds of things. As they would migrate following these herds and end up in different locations that they'd never been to before, they would have to get wives for themselves. And so they would have to make connections with the indigenous people there, and they would take wives. And so as a result, the children of those people would be ethnically different from everybody. They would be biracial. Now, in order for them to be accepted into the tribe, and this was true for everybody, by the way, any child, especially a male, that was born to the tribe had to be accepted through initiation. So this is where we get many of the rights into manhood that so many cultures have. It comes from that once a child comes of age, they have to be initiated into the tradition of the ancestors. And once you've been initiated, spiritually initiated into that tradition, you are now a full-fledged member of the tribe. And as such, you have direct connection to the ancestors. So, you can imagine over thousands of years, as these hunters are migrating into different areas of the world, they're interbreeding with indigenous populations. And so the children that are, have resulted thousands of years later are racially going to be very different from those first migratory hunters. Now, from a traditional understanding, from a spiritual understanding, a shamanic understanding, it is that initiation that was given to you as you grew into adulthood that gives you the right to call yourself a descendant of somebody. So we see this today, and it's right in front of our eyes. There are, among the many people who are Indo-European in culture, tradition, there are multiple ethnicities. You have, in Northern Europe, you have people like me who have very light skin and even lighter hair and lighter eyes than I have. In Turkey, you have people who have darker skin and dark hair. You don't have as much light eyes and light hair down there. By the time you get down into Iran and India, you have people that don't look very European. They have darker skin and darker eyes. However, they operate under Indo-European culture, Indo-European language, and before the advent of monotheism, Indo-European religion. This is an undisputed fact. So we need to get rid of this idea that race has something to do with being Indo-European. It has nothing to do with it, because what makes you an Indo-European, whether that be Celtic, whether that be Germanic, whether that be Vedic, Hindu, Iranian, any of the other Indo-European peoples, Greek, Roman, what makes you a part of that tribe is because you have been initiated into that particular culture's religion. That's what makes you a member of the tribe, and that's what gives you the right to use the word my ancestors. Has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with this. In fact, just because you're ethnically, for me, I wasn't a Teuton fully until I sought out my ancestors through shamanic practice. And then I received an energetic initiation, which initiated me into the energy of my Teutonic ancestors. And I learned through that initiation that my first Teutonic ancestors actually came from Africa.